Hello, welcome to the John's Jam Sessions podcast with me, your host John. Mike, you are back once again.
I am back again, yeah. Looking forward to getting all political tonight.
Yeah, so today is the first day of a new Labour government. We've entered a new era. It's been 14 years.
Welcome to the new era.
Welcome.
Same as the old era.
Yeah, well, we'll get deep into that. So, obviously, with this being a political episode, we are going to get political, but I want to keep it to some extent fairly light-hearted
Yeah.
and fairly fun. I'm not really going to be getting into like really seriously deep, especially not like kind of modern stuff. I want to kind of leave like modern stuff at the door a little bit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Subject matter of the songs.
Yeah,
We'll
the
stick to
subject
that.
matter of the songs, yeah, and I don't really believe in kind of like alienating anyone or so. Don't worry too much. It's not going to be like this big political lecture, and we're not going to get into various topics that have probably been bashed over your head multiple times over the past couple of months. But I thought this would be a fun episode to do around our UK general election. Things are also heating up as well in America.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, it's a very politically heavy year. Let's take advantage of this, and
hmm
I thought we'd get into curate a little playlist of great political songs, picked by myself, picked by you,
Yeah.
picked by Tom, who's been on the show before a couple of times,
hmm
and picked by Jamie, guitarist of Saturn Split, also been on the show before. And I thought I'd put them all together, different people, different political kind of leanings, different tastes in music. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of curate this playlist. So we're just going to kind of go through it. The songs we love, we're going to get into them. Other people's songs, we're going to kind of like react to them. Do we agree? Do we think they're great songs? And we'll just take it as it goes, eh? Yeah.
It's a real good mix, isn't it? There's a lot of different genres on here, so many different styles, so many
Yeah.
different subject matters, different aspects of politics being touched on as well. It's not just all the same
No.
government bad rhetoric, is it? There's a lot of like references to historical events as well as just outwardly, bashing the government and all that sort of stuff. So it was a really interesting to listen through these songs, some of these that I hadn't heard before. So yeah, let's get right into it.
Okay. So the first 7 songs are all my picks, so you can react to them how you wish. And the first song off the list is Hands Held High by Linkin Park, 2007. I think it's important to state the years that these came out because it kind of helps you understand what was going on in the world at that time.
Yeah,
Yeah, Hands Held High by Linkin Park. I think this is a great song myself. It's one of Linkin Park's more kind of like rap focused tracks
yeah,
with
definitely.
Mike on the vocal performance. Chester's doing a bit in the background.
Yeah.
This is like a great song, a great kind of jab at the classic kind of jab at the Bush era.
Mhm,
This was kind of like coming in halfway through into his first term. We had
mhm.
the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq. This is very anti-war and very focused on them wars. I really like it. What do you think of it though?
It was my first time hearing this track. I thought it was a solid track. I really did. I thought, like you said, Mike Shinoda lays down a really good rap performance. He's got a really good flow. The lyrics, like you said, the reference in the poor being sent to fight the
Yeah, yeah.
wars for the rich. Musically, I thought the outro was a really blissful climax. When
Mm,
Chester comes in
yeah, yeah, definitely.
and
Yeah.
it sort of builds up. So I was pleasantly surprised by this track because I know that this album wasn't it's not one of the most highly regarded albums within the Linkin
You
Park
see,
fan base, is it?
it's my favourite Linkin Park
Yeah, I
album.
believe so. Yeah, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean in terms of a lot of
yeah, it was.
people have a lot of love for Hybrid Theory
Yeah,
and Meteora, don't they? But this one sort of got like
it
at the
was.
time I remember it sort of got tossed to the side of it.
It was the start of the shift, wasn't it? It was the start of like kind of like
Yeah,
I'd like to say a bit more maturity from them, and I think that's why I really like this song. I'm going to pick this out because it's like you think of political kind of music, political band. Linkin Park does not come to mind, does it?
no,
It's teen angst. It's usually kind of
yeah,
more more personal, more based on kind of like human emotion. So I
yeah.
thought this was a really good kind of like topic for them to tackle, and I think they hit the nail right on the head
I
again.
agree. Yeah,
Sending the poor, the rich rage war. The bit I love the most is it comes up at the first time where they like kind of set this scene where families watching like this kind, this president doing this speech on the TV,
yeah,
and they say stuttering, and I'm stuttering and mumbling now. He's stuttering and mumbling, and the first time they say that they're laughing going, oh, what the hell did he say? And then the second time, it comes back again, and it's fear and anger this time. It's like,
Yeah,
what did he say?
I
You
didn't
know what I
pick up
mean?
on that when I was listening to it, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's really yeah.
that really struck out to me. That really like stands out to me. As I say, great song. Can't knock it. Great political track. Great anti-war track. Again, that blissful outro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd recommend anyone who's not heard it to go and listen to it.
yeah.
It's a solid track. Yeah.
I'm glad you feel that way. I was a bit tetchy about that one. I was
No,
like,
yeah.
what's he gonna take to that?
Well, obviously, I was never the biggest Linkin Park fan, even when I was in me new metal
Yeah,
phase.
it takes a bit
Teenager.
later, to be honest. It's funny, really, because it was the opposite way around for most people.
Yeah.
They're like your start, not like your starter pack, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah. Yeah.
I came back to them later on
Yeah.
because I kind of was a little bit dismissive of them when I was younger.
Yeah.
I came back to them and went, damn, these are really fucking good.
Like I said, they really did mature as a band, and they later they went into the career. They seemed to start experimenting a lot more with different styles of music, and a lot of the more immature fans from back in the day who were into the new metal stuff,
Yeah.
they didn't follow them right through that period. Did they? You've sort of got a split in the Linkin Park fan base, haven't you, with the angsty teen
Yeah, yeah.
new metal crowd and the sort of more mature listening, alt rock fans.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
but yeah, a good track. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Moving straight on, BYOB, System of a Down.
Oh yes.
We have talked about this before, so let's not stay on it too long. But obviously,
Mm,
as a political song, amazing. Again, 2005, pretty much the same subject matter. We're talking the war on terror. We're talking George Bush era America. Just classic kind of like anti-war rhetoric.
mm.
But the reason I picked this song out is because I should have said this off the top. Really, like for me, music is escapism. I don't really go to music to be kind of like bogged down by like all the weights and troubles of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I do it to relax, to enjoy, to take it in. So for a song to have a political message so kind of strong and poignant, but also just be enjoyable
yeah,
and really fun to listen to. I think that really does something, and like if you can manage to do that, then you've done something amazing there because you're
yeah,
getting again when we like going back to the System of a Down episode. We were quite young when
mm,
we listened to all this kind of
yeah,
stuff, so
yeah,
to kind of get that message into our heads it's
yeah.
like almost in an educational kind of like Sesame Street way, but it was still
You know what you
it
mean?
was like that. It was getting a message to us that otherwise we wouldn't have really engaged in.
No, exactly.
So
Yeah, and
yeah,
System of a Down. Obviously, they are an outwardly political band, anyway, aren't
yeah,
they? I mean, you can't discuss System of a Down without touching on the political aspect, as we did when we did the System of a Down discography review. What I thought was interesting about this song coming straight after the Linkin Park one was that it deals with pretty much the same subject matter, but in a totally different way. Whereas
yeah,
the Linkin Park song is quite contemplative and it's quite melancholy, isn't it?
yeah.
And
It's quite
this,
doom and gloom. Yeah,
yeah, and this is just pure fury.
yeah,
Darren's screams, they're so savage and venomous. Why do they always send the poor when he really
yeah,
he's just bellowing into the mic, isn't he? It sounds like he's about to burst a blood vessel. It's so cathartic to listen to.
yeah.
And you depend on our protection, yet you feed us lies from the tablecloth. It's such an amazing lyric. I always loved that lyric.
Yeah, I've had that. That's the exact same lyric I've highlighted there on my notes.
Mm,
So yeah, great song. Again, if you want to hear more about System of a Down, they do come up later. They're coming back.
yeah,
But if you want a full in-depth look on System of a Down, check out the episode that we did, all the albums, and we'll move on from that
yeah.
to
This is an essential track that you must listen to.
U2, Sunday Bloody Sunday,
Oh yeah,
1983. Finally, an opportunity for me to talk about U2 on the podcast. Listen, U2 are great, and I think they get way too much flack in kind of like the music world.
yeah,
I think this song proves their greatness. It's so raw, the kind of like rap, tap, 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 tapping, the kind of marching of the drums, kind of like that stingy kind of guitar.
yeah,
It kind of really shows that Edge isn't just that one trick pony that everyone kind of makes him out to
yeah.
be, you know what I mean?
Effects pedals.
Bono's vocals are so emotional on this track. You really feel like he's really putting feelings into like every word, like the screen, like someday.
That was one
Yeah,
of the first notes I made about how passionate Bono
yeah,
sounds on this track. It is, and the lyrics are harrowing, aren't they?
yeah,
They're talking about Bloody Sunday, a historical event in 1972 when
yeah. The
Brit-
massacre. Yeah,
British soldiers shot 26 protesters in Derry, Northern Ireland, and they were unarmed civilians.
yeah,
So it was sort of dubbed Bloody Sunday.
Yeah.
It really harrowing lyrics, and it wouldn't work without that passionate delivery from Bono, I don't think.
No. And the good thing about U2 is they were very outspoken of it, and like kind of with the troubles, even with you can relate this to modern conflicts nowadays. It's either one side or the other.
Yeah,
U2 were kind of more fighting for peace. They weren't. They were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
let's get this sorted. Let's look what happens when we battle each other and when we come when we come to butt heads. One of the lyrics I've highlighted is, and the battle's just begun. There's many lost, but tell me who has won. The trenches dug within our hearts, and mothers, children, brothers, sisters torn apart.
Wow, yeah.
Again, great song. I'd probably say it's one of the most harrowing tracks I've picked
Yeah,
out of my selection. Anyway,
it definitely stopped me in my tracks when I was reading through the lyrics as I was listening to it. It's like you said, harrowing's the right word. It sounds like, I don't know how to word it, but it sounds like not real almost. But like when
yeah.
you actually read about what actually happened, it's like, oh wow, like incredible, isn't it? But the sentiment and message of the song absolutely spot on for me. I've got a couple of nitpicks with the track from a musical perspective though.
Go on then. Yeah,
I think it's got a little bit of a dodgy mix going on. I think everything sounds as loud as each other. I think the
yeah.
backing vocals and Bono's main vocals clash a little bit.
Well, this was only I'd want to say, it was definitely within the first three albums.
Yeah, yeah,
It
it's
was
very raw.
very early, so obviously it was very kind of like, it wasn't high budget. And again, you'd laugh to say this now, but back in the day, U2 were associated with punk. To
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
almost like a punk band.
yeah.
A lot of people would like scoff and be like, "What? The people who did Beautiful Day, like like a punk band." They were this. This was like this was the era of like post punk,
Yeah,
and
it was.
that
Yeah,
kind of more dirty, gritty kind of production mix was a bit in vogue at the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I do understand what you're saying.
yeah,
Maybe it could do with a clean up. Maybe it could do with a remaster.
yeah,
Part of me thinks that puts character on the song though,
yeah, yeah.
in a way.
Especially if it's aiming for that, like you said, a lot of early punk music
Yeah.
wasn't it? It was aiming for that sort of raw DIY sort of sound. So yeah, that was just a couple of things I picked out that made me not that made me say I don't think it's a perfect track, but
Mm, yeah.
it certainly is essential listening if if you've never heard this song before. I'm sure most people listening will have heard it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
go and give it a listen if you haven't because it is very attention
Yeah.
grabbing.
To lighten the tone a little bit, have you ever seen Alan Partridge?
Yeah, yeah,
You see the bit where he goes to the table and they with all the Irishmen, and he's like, Sunday, bloody Sunday. Oh, really captures the frustrations of a Sunday."
oh,
And then
brilliant.
it was about a massacre, and he's like, "Oh, won't listen to that again. That's horrible." Next song. I wanted to go a bit retro on this one. I wanted to go a bit old school. Creedence Clearwater Revival, Fortunate Son.
Yeah,
You must know what this song's about. If you don't, Vietnam protest song, pretty much.
right. Yeah.
Basically about how senator sons and people with the money and people with the influence were buying their sons out of the Vietnam draft
Mm,
during the Vietnam War in America. A very controversial conflict.
yeah.
One that's inspired me heavily in some of the music that we'll get into later that I wrote. And it's just a great song. It's just a great classic rock song, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just solid rock,
very bluesy,
Yeah.
short but sweet.
Mm,
It's a bit short. It's over before it really gets going for me, but it's a decent enough track. I had heard this song before.
yeah.
Before.
You'll have heard it in movies.
Yeah,
You'll have
yeah,
heard it. It is a staple of kind of like American culture,
yeah.
which is funny, really, because it's kind of one of them songs that sometimes the meaning's lost on some people,
Well, that's
and
it.
it's
I mean,
played as like a patriotic kind
yeah,
of like.
yeah.
It's like no,
America.
similar to Bruce Springsteen's "Born in the USA."
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's similar kind of vibes, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd never looked into the lyrics, at the meaning of the lyrics before this, and I didn't know that it was referencing the
Yeah,
Vietnam War until you just told me there. I knew it was to do with. There's obviously lyrical references to going to people's doors and
yeah,
taking them out, meaning to war.
yeah.
But
Well, that's what I mean. It ain't me. It ain't me.
yeah,
I ain't no fortunate
so
son.
yeah, so I didn't know the specifics.
Senators, I ain't no senator's son. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's basically what he's saying. He's drafted it. The character he's drafted into this war. He's seeing,
yeah,
the elites basically buy themselves out of the war. The war that they insist that they have.
yeah, yeah,
Again, a lot of my choices very kind of anti-war, very anti-conflict. I think you can kind of read from that what you can, or
yeah,
like what a lot of my kind of political beliefs are.
Mm.
So yeah, you happy to move on from that
Yeah,
one?
yeah. I think thought it was another a decent, well written track.
Yeah. And then we get into Didn't state the year then. I'll just state the year. 1969.
Was that the Fortunate Son? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
oh yeah,
Pink Floyd. Pigs, three different one of them's, all cute little piggies having a munch. 1977. It's time for some prog rock now.
yeah,
This song is so good. The bass that's played by Gilmore, not Waters, is such a great standout riff. The song, it's a bit creepy and daunting. That kind of like funky groove with the like again the bass just carries this song throughout, and then it's got that eerie kind of keys, the eerie kind of it
yeah,
really kind of sets a scene and sets like a scene in your head. Off the Animals album again is going to return later on, which is it. The whole album is very politically
yeah,
charged, being basically a concept album based around George Orwell's Animal Farm,
yeah, yeah.
which is basically a story about kind of using animals as a metaphor for
Hmm.
the Russian Revolution and then communism and the
Yeah.
Soviet Union. Pigs, what do you think of them?
I absolutely love this track. I think it's amazing. The pig grunts throughout the track. They're so cute and cuddly, aren't they?
They
But
are.
it's not very much not a cute and cuddly song, is it?
There's a lot of cute and cuddly energy in it. To be
Yeah,
honest,
yeah.
I love that. Ha ha, sure
Sure as
as
you
you
are.
are.
So who is the pig man then for you? Who is the pig man?
Who is the hog? Who is the pig? I think based on the song, I think one seems to be aimed towards like the British government. One it seems to be aimed towards the
Yeah.
president,
Hmm.
and I'm
It's
kind of losing it on
ambiguous,
the
isn't it?
third one. To me, the pig is the kind of the elite,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
the
So
hoarder of the wealth.
yeah,
I'm not a super like socialist guy. I'm not like a super tax direct and all that.
yeah,
But there is it does get to that point when people just have that much like wealth,
yeah.
and the kind of for me kind of more like the shadowy figure.
That's it. Yeah.
The man in the high tower
The
kind
pig.
of thing, who's pulling the strings, who's kind of orchestrating the conflicts between people
Yeah, yeah.
and causing these like kind of culture wars. Would you say
Well, Pink
that
Floyd.
that's the swine for me?
But yeah, well, Pink Floyd are they do seem to hint at this idea of these shadowy elites that control the world, but they sort of cleverly dance around it with the lyrics, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you said, using George Orwell novels as sort of a reference point. They seem like they're a little bit of a based band, don't they, under the surface?
Yeah, I was always convinced that this song was aimed at Margaret Thatcher, but this came out in '77, which was before she came in power.
Just, yeah.
So it just goes to show, and I think again, the thing about my picks is, and what I have to say is, I like music that is kind of timeless, not necessarily within its sound, but within its lyrics. I like lyrics that you can interpret different ways. Say I listen to this and I think, oh, he's having to go at Thatcher there, classic like Thatcher dig there. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Don't think it was about Thatcher,
But
but that's
this
how I
song,
interpret. And you listen to it nowadays, and
yeah.
there's many high up figures that you can probably think of who you can associate as the pig.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, this song is nearly 50 years old at this point, and how well has it aged? It's more relevant
Yeah,
now than it ever was, even in the 70s.
Roger
Amazing,
Waters. Yeah,
absolutely amazing song.
for all his modern flaws and some of the I think that's the thing as well. You don't have to agree with everything that these artists say
No,
or
no.
come out with, but Roger Waters, for all his flaws, he's very good at kind of being timeless and predicting the future,
Yeah,
and having these kind of like almost clairvoyant style lyrics where
mm,
things come back decades later
yeah.
and they just hit just as relevant as they did back when he wrote them.
Just one note about the musicality on this song. Like you mentioned, David Gilmour's bass solo on the intro. I had to just give that a
Yeah.
shout out because it's so nice and yeah, it's satisfying to listen to, isn't it?
Boom.
It's just a great song, isn't it? Let's be honest. Even if the lyrics were something totally different altogether, I'd still
Yeah.
love this track.
And the last kind of 3 minutes of it as well, it's
Yeah,
just
oh,
the
yeah,
Pink
yeah,
Floyd, the classic, just looking that cracking,
yeah, yeah.
everything just in
And
that end.
the remastered version, it just adds another.
Yeah,
The 2018 remaster just adds another level of sort of cinematic quality to this song.
which I've yet to listen to be honest.
It's brilliant.
I've got the original on vinyl there, and that always comes on every now and again.
No, the remaster is superb.
Okay, I'll be getting on that.
Yeah.
So they were my first initial picks, my first five. I kind of asked for five off everyone, and then I kind of scattered a few little bonus, cute little baby Easter eggs in between. So they were my initial fives. Keep them in mind that they were my five, because I'll be asking you to kind of rank these in order of your favourites. So I picked two little kind of bonus tracks to it, little extra songs, and the next track I've gone for is Nickelback, Feed the Machine from 2017. And I know there's going to be eye rolls and head shakes on this one, but you all need to stop being snobs, to be honest. This is a wild swing going from Pink Floyd to Nickelback, but again, this was a wild swing for Nickelback. This caught me off guard. I remember when I remember Nickelback released a new song, and I'm like, oh, let's have a little listen to this then. I remember listening to this going like, shit, this is fucking like not. I think Nickelback's good. I will say that I think Nickelback's good, but this was a step up off their usual stuff.
I did think that I did think that it was better than the Nickelback songs that I had previously heard. I must say, I don't think it's a bad song musically at all. I just think personally, Chad Kroger's voice grates on me so much that I can't pass that.
I understand that, and it's a case of like separating the art from the artist as well. You know, I think that's why there's a lot of contention with Nickelback. I think it's a good song, but I think it's very vague.
Yeah,
I think it does the classic trick of saying a lot by saying nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can't point the finger exactly at what it's actually aimed towards or what it's actually trying to say. It's a very vague. The machine, man, yeah, we're all just part of the machine. They're grinding us down.
It's like sound bites, isn't it? It's like a collection of sound bites after another that all sound good on their own, but really, what does it mean when it's all put together? What is this song actually about?
It's very Hunger Games, isn't it? It's very like baby's first dystopian future.
Yeah. It's got a sweet little guitar riff in the intro and in the verse.
Yeah,
the syncopation with the drums is quite nice as well.
It
was okay. I think it was an okay song.
I had to give it a bit of love. I did.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, I've heard many worse Nickelback songs.
I wanted to get through. I wanted to cover a lot of history as well, and get into more modern stuff, the Trump era as well. And that's where the next song I've picked up is "Run for Cover," The Killers. Another band as well that you would just not expect to really come at you with a political song. I'm going to be real with you. I've struggled to really find anything the Killers did after their first album to be as good as their first album was.
Oh yeah.
But for me, I think this song's great. I think there's some great kind of guitar parts, a great kind of like minimalist solo. The synths are great. The vocal performance is there. I think the chorus sounds like really fun. Again, going back to kind of like BYOB, you know, it's political, but it's not bashing you on the over the head, making you feel miserable.
It makes me feel
the dark subject matter is getting treated with kind of more like an uplift kind of tempo.
Yeah, it makes me. I was going to say it makes me feel very different to the way BYOB makes me feel.
Yeah.
I've obviously heard this song before. It was massive when it came out. Radio X loved this song.
Oh, they did. Yeah, they did.
I never knew it was political. I never knew it was referencing Trump or anything. So can you explain more about the meaning of it?
I'll just pick out some lyrics here. You know, it'll scream who it's about to you. What are you waiting for in a kiss or an apology? You'd think by now you'd have an A in toxicology. It's hard to pack the car when all you do is shame us. It's even harder when the dirtbag's famous. I saw my mother on the street last night, all pretty and strong, singing "The Road Is Long." I said, "Mama, I know you've tried," but she fell on her knee and cried. It's got fake news. Fake news is brought up in it.
Yeah,
it's got like kind of like the breakdowny bit is kind of going on about like she'd do anything just to trust him. I think that's a bit of a jab at like his infidelities towards his wives and stuff like that. Yeah. I think it's very on the nose what it's about. So I picked it up straight away.
Yeah. So what I'd say about this song is I'd say it's not so much political, but it's about a politician. It's it's sort of a personal.
We'll find out later that everything's political.
Not an attack on Donald Trump himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
that's kind of what I like, that it's
it's
not necessarily an attack. It's
It's about
pointing
Donald.
the mirror up, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's you know,
it's
it's a
about Donald.
narrative.
It's about Donald Trump the person rather than anything he's done in government or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a catchy little synth pop song. Yeah,
Yeah, well, this was only 1 year into his presidency. Run for cover by the killers. Great song, great song. Okay,
it's like
thanks for coming on the podcast,
I
Mr. Trump.
was going to say, it's like
All
he's
the
in the
best
room
in
with
the
us.
election. Maybe not actually. I don't know. Depends what our viewers think,
It
or
does.
listeners
Yeah.
think. Right. So that ends my section completely now, and we're getting into Jamie's section. And Jamie hits us with some pure punk, a very
Mm.
politically charged genre of music. So of course it's going to feature on this playlist. I worked with Jamie for years. I know his political beliefs fairly well.
Hmm.
I could probably, sorry Jamie, but I could probably put him in a pigeon
Yeah.
hole
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
exact. I know how he feels. I know how he thinks on a lot of things. So a lot of these songs, I was like, yeah, of course we're gonna have that. Of course we're gonna have that. And we get into Sex Pistols, God Save the Queen,
Hmm.
punk rock in its purest form, raw and to the point. There can't be a single soul in the UK, at least, who's never heard this song.
No. No.
I don't have much to say about it. Again, it's punk. It's the foundation of so much music that I love today.
Yeah.
So it's like, even though it's not something that I'm like putting on every day and
Mm.
listening to, it's something that it's similar to the Beatles. Something I just have like a deep respect for, and it's like, you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like you really got to appreciate what this did and what this was like at the time.
But that's the thing. Sex Pistols for me are a band that are all about context. You've got to respect what they did. They served a purpose. This is an iconic track. I'm really torn on this band. I've
Mm.
no doubt that they had a great message and that they were pioneering in the punk scene.
Yeah,
But I just don't like them very much.
fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's a deliberately raw, messy, early punk
Yeah,
sound, isn't it?
yeah,
Deliberately so. It sounds like they can't really play their
yeah.
instruments.
Well,
Johnny's snarling vocals. I much prefer Public Image Limited, which came after the Sex Pistols.
Well,
Um,
1997, same year as Animals. Sex Pistols famously hated Pink Floyd, hated like
yeah,
prog, hated where rock music was going, hated kind of prog, and this was kind of the rebellion. And I completely get it. Animals is very political. This is very political
yeah,
in its own kind of way. Two completely different kind of sides of the spectrum. You've kind of
yeah,
got your champagne socialists, Pink Floyd,
yeah, yeah.
art students, all,
Hmm.
kind of a bit hippy dippy, and then you've got your raw
Yeah,
lads from the street. You know what I
basically,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
I think with the Sex Pistols, as you say, going there's this. I enjoy the story and the history of the band more than I will ever enjoy the actual band themselves.
same, same.
I kind of love, you know, again, just a lot of kind of what they did and how they kind of shaped the music world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, it's the same with the Ramones for me. I'm not a fan of them, but I can fully respect that they were the starting point for so many bands
yeah,
that I love nowadays and so many genres that I love. Like I said, the genre, these bands, they served a purpose. They were key to modern music to me. So I'll have nothing but respect for them.
yeah.
It's just not for me personally.
Fair enough. Then we get into the Clash, Spanish Bombs, 1979. Another staple of punk music. I
Yeah.
really enjoy the uplifting music accompanying the dark lyrics again. It's something that the band clearly does well and clearly influenced bands around the time and later on, like the Jam and the Smiths, a few years
Mm,
on from that. Some great kind of hooks in the chorus, present little acoustic guitar chords strumming throughout. I dig this track.
yeah, yeah,
Spanish Bombs compares to the modern day tourist experience, well, modern day in the 1970s, tourist experience of Spain with the circumstances of the Spanish Civil War.
mm,
In contrast, the trenches full of poets to the plane loads of British tourists visiting the country's beaches in the post-Franco era.
yeah,
So it's more kind of like the capitalizing on kind of like the tragedies and the past wars of other nations. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
kind of I think it's a bit of a jab at people like me because I like my history. I like going to kind of see things where things happen. So
Mm.
maybe I could take a little bit of offence to this song. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting subject matter for a British punk band to tackle. To be
Yeah,
honest,
yeah, that's what I
referencing
mean. It seems a bit more educated, doesn't
the
it? Yeah,
Spanish Civil War, the Clash are like a refined version of the Pistols for me. They're like Pistols 2.0, who
yeah,
learn to play their instruments and write songs.
yeah.
I'm a fan of the Spanish lyrics in the chorus. Actually, I thought that was a really nice
Oh yeah,
touch.
because he did that with the was it French in Should I Stay or Should I Go?
Oh yeah, oh
So
yeah.
he's quite a learned man,
Yeah,
isn't he?
yeah. No, so I thought it was a really good song. Yeah, it's got really catchy melodies all over it too. Give this one a W. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Yeah, well
excellent.
done, Jamie.
Sam Cooke, A Change is going to come from 1964, the oldest track on the playlist, a very classic and emotional song.
Yeah,
I'm glad it was picked out really because it's not usually the music I'd listen to,
yeah,
but
same.
I really enjoy this kind of older type, this older kind of vibe, this older kind of stuff. Really nice horns played throughout the track, a
Mm,
very beautiful, soulful voice. It's kind of somber, but it's also quite hopeful as well and slightly uplifting.
yeah,
I think something that's obviously, again, I said before, missing in political songs. Nice change of pace.
yeah,
You at the end of the day, you've got to have hope, haven't you? The song is deeply ingrained with the topic of segregation
yeah,
and Sam's personal experiences and race relations. An important historical song similar to Sunday Bloody Sunday.
yeah.
What do you think?
I thought it was a really nice change of pace, like you said, for the track list, a smooth soul number. I thought the vocal performance was phenomenal.
Yeah.
This was the best vocal performance out of any song on this
Mm.
playlist. Really stopped me in my tracks and had me captivated.
Yeah,
Actually,
so similar thing, like the emotion in the words, and it is a performance, isn't it? You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's not just
performance, yeah, so much
yeah,
soul. The lyrics obviously talking about the struggles of growing up as an African American in the USA in the 50s. The video as well, I couldn't help noticing references. Martin Luther King, a great track. It really was. It's not something I'd normally listen to.
no, neither am
Like you
I.
said,
So this is what I've enjoyed about doing this.
yeah,
It's really brought stuff that would never come up on the podcast, stuff I'd never go out and listen to, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
grabbed my interest. Yeah,
Definitely, it definitely did. Yeah. Like I said, I'd be interested to if we ever do something like this again in the future, check out more tracks, either this artist or some others in the soul genre,
yeah,
because it was a really good change of pace. It broke the track list. So we just listened to two punk songs, and then
yeah,
this comes on, and it's
yeah.
just like, all right, it's a nice little reset
Yeah,
now.
we've calmed down now. Let's chill out. Let's not
Yeah,
throw bottles of piss everywhere. Then we get to Subterranean Homesick Blues by Bob Dylan. Of course, Dylan was going to feature on here somewhere. Classic 60s jam. All the classic Dylan tropes are there. I have to admit, he's not someone I listen to.
no,
Again, with the Sex Pistols, I've got to respect him for what he is.
yeah,
I think he's a brilliant songwriter. I think he's a good, solid performer.
yeah,
But every song by his that's been covered by another band,
mm,
he's always done so much better.
better. Yeah, I've got to
Jimi
admit,
Hendrix smashes it out of the park, doesn't he? All along the Watchtower.
yeah,
You know, Guns N' Roses knocking on heaven's
yeah,
door. You know, the songs that you wouldn't even know were Dylan songs, and
no,
like I'm sorry, but he's very good at laying the
yeah.
foundations. But I kind of prefer what's been built on top of it.
I've got to admit, I'm not a massive Dylan guy. I'm more of a Neil Young guy. If I was to pick a contemporary
Yeah,
folk artist from the 70s, but
it is quite Marmitey in it. Like I'm
yeah,
on the pavement, think about the government.
it's a bit like he can't control the volume of his own voice at times,
Yeah,
and it's sort of jumping all over the place, the high to low and stuff like that. But again, like you said, I get that he was. I get that he was groundbreaking for the time,
yeah.
pioneering. Obviously, the political implications of this song, I wasn't really getting it. What about you?
Neither was I, to be honest. And maybe I should have looked this up and done it. I've done research on other songs, but I think it just
Mm,
goes to say what I feel about the song, which is not much at all. Because I
yeah,
was just kind of like,
it was very
I
short as
felt
well.
we were on a very good streak,
Yeah, yeah,
and again, I always feel like I'm gonna like the mob's gonna come after me when you kind of say things about certain artists, don't you? But
yeah,
Bob
yeah.
Dylan he does not scratch that itch for me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. In a one-off, listening to him as part of this playlist, I thought it was a decent little bluesy folk rock track with plenty of harmonica, pleasant enough listen. Would I go back to it? No, I don't think I would. Like I said, if I was to pick some classic folk rock to listen to, I'm much more likely to go to like a Neil Young
Oh yeah.
than I am Dylan. But it's what it is, isn't it? It's not
Yeah.
for everyone.
Let's move on. Monkey Gone to Heaven by the Pixies, 1989. Definitely my favourite of Jamie's selection, hands down. This is a great jam. The chorus hook is so good.
Yeah,
The chord changes, the bam, 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 bam. Jamie knows I love my post punk. He knows I love
yeah,
me monkeys. This This is a new theme that we haven't really touched on yet so far in the playlist. This deep down. Environmentalism. It's the same again. It's kind of timeless because it's still very current. It's still a very current issue
Yeah.
to this day, isn't it?
So that lyric, is
Um,
that referencing something specific about the 10 million tons of sludge from New York or something like that?
Yeah, so it's like what sewage dumpage, and then the hole in the atmosphere that comes up in it again burns the earth. Yeah, it's basically kind of end of the world, the man-made destruction, destroying of the environment. Poor little monkey in the tree just have a nice time eating his fucking fruit and that, fucking
Oh,
kicking off. Bad,
R.I.P.
gone to heaven. Bad.
But this is a great album. This is
Yeah,
one of the greatest indie albums ever. If someone said to me this was the greatest indie album ever, I wouldn't argue with them. And this track is one of the highlights of it. I've
yeah,
always loved this song.
yeah.
It's got a simple structure, simple chorus, but it works so well. And I love the "Man is five and the devil is six" lyric
Yeah,
in
I've had
intro.
that as well. Like the screams,
Yeah,
what is doing? You could definitely
yeah.
tell Kurt Cobain was influenced by this
Oh
man,
yeah, he was
and it was a
totally. Yeah,
heavy influence on him.
I think he said that Doolittle was his favorite album, didn't
Yeah.
he? I'm sure he did.
So again, just chef's kiss,
Yeah,
lovely, love it, great track. This wasn't picked from Jamie's, but I've added it in his selection as kind of like a little bonus track. We've got Saturn Split, Hell from Above, from 2021. So we
cute.
go from heaven to hell. Oh, I couldn't help it. I had to tag one of my songs in it at the end of Jamie's selection. But again, it's a political song.
Yeah,
It's again going back to kind of my kind of like selection, anti-war. I wrote it kind of with the inspiration of going back to Fortunate Son stuff like that.
yeah.
I kind of envisioned a lot of Vietnam imagery kind of like in my head, and that's why you kind of hear that kind of chopper at the beginning,
Mm,
like the chopper flying in
yeah,
above the trees. But again, I influenced it with like more modern things and kind of made sure that it could have this timeless feel. It's basically about America's like and the UK's actually just our like inability to not stick our oar into other
yeah,
countries' businesses,
yeah.
and like we have to invade them to save them, and
Mhm.
by doing so we end up causing more harm than good. Iraq War. What do you think about Hell from Above? You can be honest. I know it's my chat, but
No,
I want a straight up, honest review.
I mean, you know, you know that I always liked this track when I used to come and see you perform
Yeah,
live. This was always a track that
yeah.
I picked out as it stood out to me. Listening to it, the recorded version, I was actually really impressed with the production and
Yeah.
how heavy it sounds. And how
Nice.
booming the drums are, and how rumbling the bass is. It sounds Muse influenced.
Mm,
The bass sounds very distorted and very,
yeah,
like the Hysteria bass riff at the start,
yeah, yeah,
where it's got that
yeah.
fuzzy distortion on it.
I've
It did sound
I've
a bit
got
like
my
that.
two pedals there, so this is good for any music geeks out there who want
Mm.
to know the insides out. It's got a Boss overdrive pedal and a flip it to the front. Is it a phaser chorus?
Anyway,
Yeah.
but
So
it sounds good.
I used them two pedals together when I wrote it, and I kept the overdrive on it throughout. So yeah, you can definitely pick up again like Hysteria kind of vibes.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, that was a good track. I couldn't read into the lyrics because they're not on Spotify.
are they not?
They
Well,
weren't when I was listening
yeah.
through.
So basically, the whole concept hell from above is kind of like 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 a raining fire, bombs,
Yeah, yeah,
constant
yeah.
like downpour, hell from above. Usually we fly into these countries.
Mm.
In it and it's kind of like it's how propaganda's used. So in the name of love, we'll come and save you. In the name of love, we'll annihilate you. You know what I mean? It's all for the greater good.
Yeah,
It's all for the nice kindness of our hearts, where we're coming over to save you and get a bit of oil out of it on the
yeah,
way.
yeah. But that
So
was like it's a similar theme to one that it wasn't on the playlist, but it's a song that I did a TikTok video recently about political songs, and I picked out a PJ Harvey song called "The Glorious Land," and the lyrics in that are very much similar to us. It deals with us in America, basically,
mm,
just pillaging these Middle Eastern countries. One of the lyrics in that song is, "What is the glorious fruit of our land? Its fruit is deformed children," and it's like, all right, yeah,
yeah,
you know what? It's an interesting subject matter when it comes up, isn't it? When you actually do your research about what we've
Yeah.
what
So
we've done
So
on the
go
covers.
listen to Saturn Split Hell from Above. This playlist will be linked in the episode description, by the way.
Yes.
And then now we get into Tom's selection, which I think before recording, you pulled some bit. Let's get into this Tom's selection. So Tom was a bit. He was trying to throw arms at me, and I was like, Tom, songs, mate. I want songs. So two of the tracks were just kind of ones I had to randomly pick out of the albums he suggested, and I don't really think they resonated too well with them. But these first three songs you definitely picked out. We've got Eminem, Mosh. So we're shifting it. Your face. We're shifting into hip hop for this one. I remember this song and its music video like very well. I
Yeah.
remembered it on the music channels very well. It got heavy airplay during kind of like the election time of 2004. Bush was fighting for his second term at this point. The don't think the Iraq War had started yet, but the Afghanistan conflict
No,
definitely happened.
2005 was,
Yeah, the
but
Afghanistan conflict was definitely underway though.
Iraq was as
Um,
well.
no, Iraq was 2005, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Iraq was on the horizon. It was happening.
this song came out in
Oh, did it?
2005. Yeah,
Oh, baby,
it
baby.
was on Encore. This song.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it might came out as a single before though,
right.
because it would have came out around the election. I do remember that.
Mm.
Maybe we'll have to fact check that later.
Mhm.
A pure venomous anti-Bush song. It was a lot braver to attack the government around that time than it is now. Nowadays, it's bog standard, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's your Christmas number one.
yeah,
It's got tiring at this point. It's just like,
yeah,
yeah, you hate the government, do you? Oh, that's nice. Oh, wow, what a shock!
yeah.
Well, you've blown me mind there. Back then, there was bands in particular like they never worked again.
Yeah,
They struggled for years because they actively like spoke out against Bush and the wars.
Eminem was always on his sort of mid albums from 2003 onwards. He was very, very outspoken against the government, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I feel like you could have picked so many songs from this era for this list. Tom, if you're listening to this, I don't know why you picked this song. I think the beat in this song is, well, it's not a beat. It just sounds like the song's been played on quarter speed on
I think
YouTube to
it's
me.
being too
I
harsh
don't know.
on it. I think you're being too harsh on it. Uh,
I did not
what
like
I've
this
got
song.
here is the only issue I have with this track is that it's very topical. Like unlike all the other songs so far, it's very topical. Where he's calling out Bush, he's calling out Bin Laden.
I
So I
appreciate
think it's aged a bit like milk. You know what I
I
mean?
do appreciate the sentiment of the song.
You can't really listen to it now and really pick much up from it, can you?
No,
You know what I mean?
I appreciate the subject matter of the song and the sentiment of the song and the lyrics. Eminem has always been a great
Yeah.
lyricist, hasn't he? Even at this point in his career when he was
And he does
off
put
his
quite a
face.
bit of an emotion in the song, especially towards the end.
Yeah,
But there's one bit I pointed out, and it makes me, it stays in my head rent free. I think it's really funny. Like when you think of Eminemisms, which he's full of these days, like
mm,
I think he's off the rails. Fucking like he just hang up the coat at this point. But this bit makes me laugh. Where he's like, "The we have empowered. This is Bin Laden. Look at his head nodding."
Bin Laden, that made me laugh. That.
This is look at his head nodding.
Do you know
How
what?
could we allow something like this without pumping our fist? Now this is our final hour.
Do you know what this song reminded me of, and that bit specifically? It reminded me of the film Team America.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought of the puppets just all sat round to this song.
Almost feels a bit parodied.
Yeah,
Going back
parody.
to what we said again, bands that you don't expect to pull out great political songs, pulling out great political songs.
Yeah.
I think Eminem could be put in that category, and I think that his immaturity and his silliness and his goofball behaviour just kind of might drag this down a little bit. I remember
Mm,
in around Trump time he did one against Trump and it was so bad.
I
I don't know if
remember
you
it.
ever heard
Yeah,
it. It was like that's an awful hot coffee
yeah.
pot. Should I drop it on Trump? Probably not.
He said,
It was so like it was like, and we hate him because he's orange. It's like it was like a cappella when he was like, "Pull up a fist."
it was like,
This is for the fucking can't even remember who it was.
but it was supposed that was supposed to be like an improv thing, wasn't it? That he did, but it was so clearly written beforehand. It was just like, why are you writing this?
And we hate him because he's orange. So Moss gets a bit of a thumbs down from you, does it?
Yeah, I didn't like
First
it.
first dud on the playlist, would you say?
I would say this is a dud, unfortunately. Yeah,
I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide.
yeah. Fair enough.
Next, I think you'll be happy with this one. Rage Against the Machine, Bulls
Yeah,
on Parade, 1996.
absolutely.
Again, there was no way this band wasn't getting featured here. Rap metal greats. The groove here is fucking sickening. Tom Morello just brings the fucking noises, guitar, all them sounds, and crazy fucking
Yeah.
mind blowing. Aimed at the military industrial complex.
Yeah.
Pure power. Love it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a great song off a great album by a great band. From a musical standpoint, you mentioned the opening riff. It's so iconic, isn't it? It's dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow, wow.
The lyrics that stood out to me: weapons, not food, not homes, not shoes. Rally round the family with a pocket full of shells. It's chilling and memorable, but it's also like it's delivered with such venom from Zach,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Um,
These are a political band that like I say, sometimes like it can feel so doom and gloom and lectury. Like
mm,
with me, I love this band. I think they're great, but I feel like I'm getting lectured.
yeah, yeah,
I feel like I'm getting told off, and sometimes you need the telling off. But
yeah.
it's like, man, is it really my fault? Like I'm not out there doing them.
Oh, yeah. But no, I feel the opposite. I feel like they are leading me on like a protest march. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm following them on a protest march. I don't feel like they're having a go at me. I feel like they're trying to take me with them. And that's what's great about that. I think that is what's great about this band. They just stoke up some sort of
Yeah.
like fire inside
Yeah,
me.
they are great for that. Yeah. Happy to move on from that one.
Yeah, I don't think any more needs to be said. Top track.
Fucking political
Oh no.
by Skunk Anansie, 1996. I think these tracks did kind of blend quite well from the end of that one into this one. I
Yeah.
think the music on this track, like the kind of groove metal, pure runk and pour, is very good. The vocals fucking annoy the fuck
Oh,
out of me.
what are them vocals, man?
King political. Three things political.
I think the vocals are funny. The chorus made me laugh.
You know what it makes me think of? And I didn't think about this originally, but on a re-listen today, you know what it made me think of?
What?
Have you ever been on Instagram and
Yeah.
you're looking at people's stories
Yeah.
and then they kind of link you to this like multi-page kind of big like long essay with graphics on it, and it's like,
Mm.
let me tell you why milkshakes are racist. The person who posted that on their story is the person that I vision in my head when I hear, yes,
Yeah.
it's fucking political.
Blue hair.
There's some people like, listen, in modern years, politics has just got so it's in a way it's good that people are a lot more politically aware and people have been a lot more politically invested.
Mm.
At the same time, it's took over people's lives, and personally, I think it's made people fucking miserable.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like you see the person, as you say, not through too many stereotypes here, but there's a certain type of person
Hmm.
on Instagram. You will probably have them on your friends list. If you don't, you are that person.
Yeah.
And they post and they spend all day sharing very far left political takes all day and just going on diatribes and constantly ranting and raving and being so. And it's like, how do you sleep at night?
No,
Like,
no.
do you ever just sit down, watch the telly, and just chill out?
I feel like yeah. I feel like when you're listening to the vocals in this track, you picture that person, don't you?
It's good to fight. It's good to stand up for what you believe in, but pick your battles. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And actually, like do it in a sort of nuanced way that sort of helps other people
Yeah,
to engage in debate with you. Because screaming in someone's face is not encouraging any sort of debate.
yeah.
This is just a little sidetrack. This isn't about whoever.
I
This
know,
isn't about the artist.
we need to get back into
This
the
isn't
song,
it
but
isn't about the artist. I just thought I'd get that out there.
yeah, no, it's good. It's good to get political. But going back to the song, I get the frustration. I get the frustration. This happens a lot in the modern age, especially with like social media and Twitter and stuff like that, where bands and artists speak out their beliefs and then they get flack for it, and
Yeah.
then everyone comes in going like, "Dude, do you not understand the band?" I
Hmm.
think this is them just putting the record straight, going like, "You don't under. This is what we're about. Don't misinterpret us.
Hmm.
Yes, it's fucking political."
You couldn't have put it any more blunt than that. So fair play, but I don't think I'll be revisiting this song.
So, to be honest, it's like again, hedonism. Hope you get to meet your heroes. Week, great songs from this band. This one's a bit of a miss. I can see why Tom picked it. But it's a bit on the nose. Moving on, Maggot Brain,
Yeah,
Funkadelic, 1971. I think this is my fault, to be honest. Again, he just chose the album. Said it's a very politically charged album.
right.
I looked at the track list, never heard this album before, and thought, well, picked the title track, and who would know it? It's an instrumental.
It's got a
So
spoken word intro, hasn't it?
yeah,
And I thought, it's like a 10-minute guitar solo. It's a pleasant enough listen, but I don't get the political angle. I don't get
this is
it.
my fault. This was my fault. I'd messed up. I understand. He was refusing to pick songs for me. He was
Right.
refusing to play ball. So I went out my own way, and this is what happened.
That's
But
fantastic.
let's see this as a nice little interlude
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the playlist. A nice little, after. Yes, it's fucking
yeah.
political.
We needed that. We needed an instrumental
Yeah,
break.
we needed a nice break from that. So Funkadelic, to be honest, I loved it. I thought it was great. Percy,
What's
nice
that?
little
The
the song maggot brain.
Oh yeah, it
Um,
was like I said, it was a pleasant enough listen. It was a nice little guitar solo,
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
it? But like you said, I put loads of question marks because I thought I don't get the political angle. But
Listen,
you've explained why it popped up.
everything's political.
Yeah, to be fair, even 10-minute guitar solos.
Everything's political. Fucking hell, that's up there and lead the parade. I think.
Oh yeah, it is.
I need to lead. We're trailing off here. We're going out late. Let's bring it back now. So the last one on Tom's selection is System Enter Shikari 2012. Again, he just told me to listen to the album. I picked the first song off it. It's a 1 minute 30 second song.
I think
It
it's
definitely feels laced with kind of political meanings and definitely sets up what I think would probably be a very politically charged album.
yeah,
Going to be honest, not the type of band I would go towards.
yeah,
It sounded not what I expected it to sound like. I remember that song by Enter Shikari back in the day of all that crazy
oh yeah, no,
electronic
yeah,
clap 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 clap. They were very big on that kind of like scene metalcore kind of
yeah,
like explosion in like 2008. This didn't sound anything like it. This just sounded like some kind of London
yeah.
southern Brit rap. Like
Well, that's it. Like
when I was a kid and I went to school, I had to learn how to go out of
yeah,
space.
well, they did change the style drastically after the first album, I'd say,
Yeah,
and they are actually low key a very political band. I thought the lyrics in this song did actually seem to be referencing like powers that be allowing the
yeah,
country to run into disrepair. So I did actually get the angle of this song. It's got quite an anthemic outro, but like you said, it just feels like a bit of an interlude type track that'd be placed in the middle of an album, doesn't it? I thought it was decent, but it was a tad short. Like I said, I picked out a couple of lyrics that I thought were decent, and then referenced something that I could clearly see what they were getting at. So yeah, there were worse tracks on this playlist.
yeah. So far, because the next one's yours, so you're going to be a bit biased. How would you rank these three at the moment, from mine to Jamie's to Tom's?
Oh, I think there's a good mix in all of them. I really do. I'd say, you've picked Pigs and BYOB, so I've got to give it to you. But then Jamie's picked Spanish Bombs, which is a great track. Change as well, great track. And he's picked Monkey Gone to Heaven as well. Tom's got Bulls on Parade in there.
That's it.
Everyone's got a good mix. I'd say. Like I said, I didn't want it all to just be songs that were one genre. All songs that I love, all songs that I hate. I'm quite glad there's a
Mm.
mixture.
So we get into your selection.
Yep.
So you can talk. I'll kind of hand the reins more to you on this one.
Ooh.
So do you want to take it away?
Not got that many notes down, but I recommended all these songs to you, didn't I?
You did.
First track I've gone with was Down Rodeo by
Hmm.
Rage Against the Machine, which is off the same album as Bulls on Parade, Evil Empire. Was this the first time you'd heard this track?
It was, to be honest. So, Rage Against the Machine, I've got the first album. I've got the self-titled. I've listened to it quite a few times. It's one of them.
Mm.
With some bands, I kind of reserve myself, and it's like I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah,
If I find a record, I'll pick them up and I'll listen to them on record. And with Rage Against the Machine, I have kind of been sitting on them a little bit, so it
yeah,
was
yeah.
good to hear some songs past the first album.
I personally think that this album is their best album. Evil Empire.
It did sound very good. I think the first album has some absolute belters, but
Yeah.
I think I listened to it not too long ago. It kind of trails off a little
I
bit
do
for
think
me.
it's a great album, but
Yeah,
I think Evil Empire just tops it, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah,
And this song, lyrics seem to be talking about a southern town in the USA that is stuck in sort of like the Jim Crow era type
yeah,
mentality,
yeah.
with
You pick up on that.
rolling down rodeo with the shotgun, and the lyric that is just so blunt and attention grabbing is these
Yeah,
people ain't seen a brown skinned man since their grandparents bought one. I was like, what other band would write that? That's just
not
so
many others, is there?
that's so Rage Against the Machine, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I enjoyed it very much from a musical perspective. I
Mm.
like the pre-chorus guitar. I like that kind of like electronic element that usually they
Yeah,
don't
man.
have in their music. Very like Super Nintendo-esque noises.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was really good. Another again, like you said, another song tackling racism. I
Mhm.
think there's a nice outro thrown in it too. Again, I haven't got a lot to say. I obviously picked up on certain things, you know. Again, as you say, Rage Against the Machine. I kind of feel like someone's pointing at the finger and getting angry. Like not necessarily at me, but like you say
Yeah.
to you, it motivates you. But to me, it's I
Right.
kind of feel like I'm sinking back in the chair. No, okay, oh, yeah, yeah, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah, that is mad how we get completely
Yeah,
different
that's
vibes,
it.
isn't it?
That's music, isn't it? You know.
And make a move and plead the fifth because you can't plead the first. I just want to read lyrics off this song
Yeah.
all day because it's
That's what I
so
mean.
good.
He's going down with the shotgun, and I'm a bit like, mate, is that necessary? Like, I know they may have been bad, but
Yeah, but you need a shotgun because they've all got shotguns.
oh, okay,
That's
yeah,
the point.
yeah, yeah. I see,
But
I see.
Zach
But
Scream,
violence begets
yeah,
violence. You know, I don't know. You know,
that's what the pro gun people would say to you though.
yeah, yeah. I
So
see, I
Zach's
see.
scream at the end of the track is just so powerful, isn't it? And
Yeah,
passionate, and
yeah,
it's just like it's like oh, such a good song. I did love, yeah. That's why I picked this song because I
yeah.
love it.
So you've gone for after that System of a Down, Another Return, Prison Song.
Oh yeah,
Again, we have spoken in depth about this song, so let's not dwell on it for too long. But great song, great selection. Again, another topic tackled that like is so far down in the playlist as well.
yeah.
We're still getting into these fresh topics. You know, the corrupt prison system, the industrialization of the prison. You know, the war on drugs.
Mm.
It's all there, and it's all just done in a great anger, rage filled
Yeah.
performance. Really, really great.
Amazing track this, isn't it? And it's with it being the first song on Toxicity, it's perfectly placed on the track list, isn't it? Dun
Yeah.
dun 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 dun, just repeated
So
punches to the face.
something I forgot about on the System of a Down episode. Another little funny story was I brought the CD into work and I put it in the CD player in the van and I turned the volume up like completely to max and then turned the engine off. So when the lad who was driving got in, he'd go bum 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 bum. He fucking got in the van. He
That is brilliant.
So yeah, again, won't go on it too long. Definitely, if you want to hear more about System of a Down, get on the System of a Down episode. Big thumbs up from me.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Right, you've made some fun of Tom's selections.
Ooh,
So the next track you've picked is Public Enemy, Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos, 1988.
mate, this is a classic hip hop track.
It's
Classic.
alright. It's okay. It goes on far too long, in my opinion.
It is quite long.
I was listening to it and I was like, right, I would be very grateful if this ended. You know? This is getting very grating on me, and to be honest, I'm not the biggest hip hop
Yeah,
fan for that.
fair enough.
I don't like the loops. I don't like and like the
The
keys and
piano,
the
yeah.
and I went to the prison and it was very bad and I got mad and I'm just a bit like
Oh, I suppose
not my favorite, not my
I
favorite. What
suppose
can I say?
I suppose if hip hop's not your thing, it's not your thing, is it? And it's not my favourite. I'm very picky with it. That's why I made such a big deal about not liking the Eminem track from earlier in the playlist because I am very picky with me hip hop.
To be fair, yeah, you've got a pointer tonight and fucking day in it. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
this is
I think the beat on this song is just light years ahead of that.
yeah, everything's on point. You know, the flow, the
Yeah,
rhymes, and all that. It is all on point. Again, it was just like 6 odd minutes.
it is long.
And I
Yeah,
can at first I was listening to the lyrics. I was like, "Oh yeah, okay." I got a letter the other day, and the government
yeah.
told me to go
Said they
away.
were suckers.
And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, this is good. This is good. This," and then later on, it just kind of trails off into
Yeah,
what I always found was like the kind of stuff that kids in school enjoyed. Oh, the prison break and the crime and the
yeah.
guns and all that. And
So if anyone's not heard
I
this,
always switch my brain off at that point. You know what I mean?
if anyone's not heard this song, it's about like basically about the police brutality in the USA and the prison's been full of like let's just say it, black people.
Yeah,
That's basically and it's about them basically. It's about them organising a sort of like
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
riot against the
yeah,
police, the
yeah.
prison guards, isn't it? So it is. I think it's if you're into your hip hop and you somehow haven't heard this song, then you've got to go and give it a listen. But like you said, it was something that I thought I'd throw in
Yeah,
to be a
I
bit different.
appreciate it. I do appreciate that. Then we get into the Manic Street Preachers, yes, from 1994.
Yes,
It's
yes,
got a classic 90s sound to it, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I struggle to understand the lyrics,
Yeah, the lyrics are
so
very
I had to have a bit of a read along.
yeah.
Again, afraid that it's not really my thing.
The lyrics are a bit the lyrics are a bit random, aren't they, at
Yeah,
times? But
it's not my thing, but this is why I brought in other people to curate this playlist. It's fine by my ears,
yeah,
but I won't be returning to it. I would have personally preferred it if you tolerate this.
yeah, that is that's more of a
It's more of a go-to though, isn't it? It's more of a it's
it's
like
more
you
well known.
expect that, and you do when you're picking things, you want to kind of pick things that are a bit like more,
Yeah,
you want to get ears on something, don't you?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Again, like I did originally put me notes on the Rage Against the Machine songs, and I found it funny that "Killing in the Name of"
yeah,
is not on this.
yeah, yeah.
Out of the, there's two Rage songs, and that's not featured.
It's too well known though,
It
isn't it?
is, isn't it? But again, I went with some well-known
Yeah.
ones, BYOB. It's just
I've got to admit, when I threw this track at you, afterwards, I actually regretted not picking the second song on this album, which is called "If White America Told the Truth for One Day, Its World Would Fall Apart," and that is much more of a specific sort of
yeah.
a specific issue that it's tackling.
Okay.
Whereas this song was sort of a bit more like sort of Pigs, where it's like ambiguous.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
power produces desire, the weak have none. That's one of the lyrics. There's a chorus lyric which could be considered controversial on trans issues in this day and age, but I don't really know.
Oh yeah, I remember picking up on
I
that.
don't
I
really
was
know.
like,
I don't really know what that was. I think that was referring to a specific event, but
I'm sure it was.
I've not really read up on it. Yeah, musically, I do love this track. I do love this whole album. I think it's got underrated album, The Holy Bible. Jerky, angular riffs all over this track, as well as the other tracks on the album. One of them I referenced earlier.
Yeah. What's up, son? I'm in the middle of something. What's up?
That was like ready. What do you call it? That disc down there. So Fortnite where like
I think I might just keep this in. Go on.
Keep it in.
that they did a Red Hot Chili Pepper themed collab.
What? Red Hot Chili Peppers in Fortnite. Breaking news on the podcast, everyone. Red Hot Chili Peppers
Cool.
are in Fortnite. Are they? Actually, or are you making it up?
Well, there used to was.
They used to was.
Yeah.
Right, son, let me finish this podcast, mate.
Yeah.
I'll see you later. Should we keep that in?
I'll leave that up to you. It's cute.
Right, we're ending the playlist now. Pink Floyd,
Yes.
Sheep. Again, we're returning to the Animals album. This is just classic Floyd through and throughout.
Yeah.
It's all there. The Tale of the Sheep, again, inspired by Animal Farm. Trippy rock prog number. Great song off the album. Bit sad that Dogs didn't get a feature on this playlist now.
You
Because
can't
that
pick
is
them
my
all.
favourite song off the Animals album.
You can't pick them all, can
You
you?
can't pick them all, can you? And again, sheep and pigs are the more, heavily politically.
Hmm.
The dogs seems to be a bit more. Everything's political.
Political. This is an amazing track, isn't it? It's such a winding, epic track. It's got a spring in its step as well. It's coming out Pigs is a bit more sort of like
Yeah, the eerie,
mid tempo, isn't it?
yeah.
Whereas this has got a bounce to it, and
Yeah.
and it's got a great lyric there. Stay at home and do as you're told. What does that remind you of?
Something that I will not bring up on this podcast.
So yeah, again, Animals. We can't say enough good things about this album, can we? I think we both consider this. On some days I think this is Pink Floyd's best album. On other days I think Wish You Were Here is.
I would say it's better than Wish You Were Here. I would definitely say that. My favourite, I've got a lot of bias towards The Wall. I've got a lot of bias towards The Wall, but
Yeah.
I would probably say this is definitely my favourite. I think that the Waters, when Waters was in charge of the show, from you're talking Dark Side all the way up to Final Cut, which is a hot take for many people.
Yeah.
That era of Floyd for me is fantastic. Love it. Stuff after that speak for itself.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. But again, a great closer. I think all in all, I'm very happy with this playlist. I think it's a solid playlist.
Definitely,
I'm happy to kind of put my name to it, put the show's name to it. Again, if I was to rank them, obvious biasy, but myself's going to go first.
Yeah.
Then Jamie's, then I'd probably say yours, and then Tom's. Say both yours and Tom's did have a few hit and misses for me.
Well, that's what it's all about, though, isn't it? Again, I didn't want to just give you loads of songs that
Yeah,
that I
exactly.
that I know
Yeah.
you like.
Yeah. It's one of them. These things like you can be very obvious about it, and I don't really like obvious. I don't really like on the nose,
Yeah,
especially when it comes, as I say, going back to what I said at the start of the episode. Political music, not something I actively go and seek out. It's something that seeks me out half the
yeah,
time. It's bands that I listen to, and then they come with me at the political stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, I'd highly recommend it. And if you're not a very political person, I'd still recommend it because
Yeah.
it's stuff you can kind of pick up on and learn about. And
There's such a variety on this playlist that there's going to be
yeah.
something that you'll enjoy. I think.
And to be honest, I think that's all I have left to say about it.
Hmm.
So once again, thank you for returning to the show, Mike. Thanks for your contributions. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jamie, for your contributions.
Contributions.
Contributions. Oh God, I can't even edit that out, can I? I think I did that too much. One of the things I've always noticed when I listen back to this is how many times like I say a different word when I mean something
Yeah,
else,
yeah,
and you're just like, let's just hope that was either A, not noticed, or B, the knew what I meant.
yeah, yeah.
Listen, editing can only get you so far. But thanks for listening this far. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed this, please follow on Spotify. Please rate it 5 stars. That means a hell of a lot to us. Check the YouTube out. YouTube videos, clips, full podcast episodes. They're all on there. Follow us on the socials. Follow John's Jam Sessions on Facebook, Instagram. We have got a Twitter, but I never use it.
Yeah.
TikTok. Follow Mike on Music Mike
That's
on
the
TikTok. Enjoy the new government. I'm sure it's
oh,
going to be wonderful. If you're living over in the US, God help you.
yeah. I agree. Yeah,
All the best to you guys. Can't say I'm too jealous of you. That debate was fucking funny though. To be honest, that cracked me up.
yeah. I saw snippets from it,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I don't even know what he said, and to be frankly honest, neither did he.
we might have to leave it there with that, mightn't we?
That's the end. That's how it leaves. That ends it.